Hello students, in the last lecture of chapter 13, AC circuits, we have studied about phasors, which is nothing but a rotating vector that represents a quality varying sinusoidally with time and is called a phasor, and the diagram representing it is called a phasor diagram. And over here, the phasor for alternating EMF or alternating current are inclined to the horizontal axis at an angle omega t or omega t plus alpha, where alpha is the phase difference between alternating EMF and alternating current, and it is to be rotated in the anti-clockwise direction. As well as we had seen, the length of the arrow represents the maximum value of the quantity I0 and E0. After that, we had discussed the different types of AC circuits with a resistor. When a resistor is to be applied across the AC signal, and hence we are getting for a purely resistive circuit. Over here, we are getting that the instantaneous value of the current in the purely resistive circuit is equal to I0 sin omega t, where the instantaneous value of the applied EMF we are having E is equal to E0 sin omega t. And we come to know that on comparing I0 is equal to E0 upon R with Ohm's law, we find that the resistor behaves similarly for both AC and DC voltage. Hence, the behavior of R in DC and AC circuits is same. As well as we come to know that for a resistor, there is zero phase difference between instantaneous alternating current and instantaneous alternating EMF. That is, they are in same phase. Both E and I will reach zero minimum value and maximum value at the same time. That is to be shown in the graph. As well as by means of the phasor diagram, here we come to know that the current and voltage are in the same phase. Hence, both phasors for I and E are in the same direction, making an angle omega t with OX, and the angle between E0 and I0 is 0 over there. And also their projections on the vertical axis give the instantaneous values. So, the phase angle between alternating current and alternating voltage through resistor R is 0. Now, as we know that when alternating current flows through the resistor, it offers opposition which we named as resistance to the flow of current. Now, let's study opposition offered by the pure inductor and capacitor to the flow of AC current when alternating EMF is applied across them. Now, let's proceed the chapter. The next topic we have AC voltage applied to an inductor, where we are going to discuss different types of AC circuits with inductor there. Now, here we are considering that an alternating EMF E is to be applied across a pure inductor of self-inductance L as shown in this figure. And now let's suppose the alternating EMF is to be supplied, which is to be represented as E is equal to E0 sin omega t. When the key is closed, let I be the current which is equal to I0 sin omega t be the instantaneous current flowing through this inductor, and as the current is alternating, a back EMF, that is minus L di upon dt is induced in the inductor, which must be equal to the instantaneous value of the applied EMF E. As we know that in the inductor, there is a production of induced EMF takes place in a circuit itself on account of a change in the current in it. And we had discussed the phenomena which is to be termed as self-inductance. So here it is also known as the back EMF, which is to be produced in a inductor, and this back EMF is equal to the instantaneous value of the applied voltage, that is EMF E. So by using the Kirchhoff's law of electricity, the law of voltage is to be given that the instantaneous value of the applied EMF E plus back EMF is equal to 0. And hence, we know that according to the Lenz's law, the back EMF E is equal to minus L di upon dt. So here we can say that as E plus back EMF is equal to 0 as per the Kirchhoff's law of electricity. Hence, we can also say that to maintain the flow of current in the circuit, applied EMF must be equal and opposite to the induced EMF E dash over here. The back EMF here we are representing as E dash. So according to Kirchhoff's law of voltage, there is no resistance in the circuit, and hence we can write as E plus back EMF is equal to 0. So E is equal to minus back EMF. As back EMF is to be represented as E dash, so we can write E is equal to E dash. As we know that the value of E is to be given as minus L di upon dt. So here we can say that E is equal to minus back EMF, and the back EMF here is to be induced is given as minus L di upon dt. So here we can write the term in bracket, that is minus of minus L di upon dt. And hence we are getting the instantaneous value of the applied EMF E is equal to L di upon dt. Now next, let's rearrange the equation. Di is equal to, it becomes E upon L into dt there. After that, when we are integrating the above equation on both the sides, so we are getting integration of di is equal to integration of EL upon dt. As E is the instantaneous value of the applied EMF and the value of E is given as E0 sin omega t. So integration di we are getting as I, which is equal to integration E0 sin omega t upon L into dt. As E0 is the maximum value of the applied EMF and L is the value of the self-inductance is constant. So here we can say that we are taking the integration of sin omega t dt there. And when we are taking the integration of sin omega t dt, we are getting the value as minus cos omega t upon omega. And whenever we are taking the integration, so here plus a constant value is coming in our equation. So we are getting I is equal to E0 upon L in bracket minus cos omega t upon omega plus constant. Now, as the integration constant we are taking here as 0, so we can say that I is equal to minus E0 upon omega L cos omega t. And as cos omega t is nothing but sin pi by 2 minus omega t. As we are taking the general equation, cos theta is equal to sin pi by 2 minus theta. So here as the angle theta is given as omega t, so we can write cos omega t is equal to sin pi by 2 minus omega t there. So we can write I is equal to minus E0 upon omega L into, instead of cos omega t we have to write it as sin pi by 2 minus omega t. When we are taking minus sign out of the bracket, so that minus sign and the minus which is already in our equation become plus, and hence the factor in the bracket is to be written as omega t minus pi by 2. So here we can write it as I is equal to E0 upon omega L sine omega t minus pi by 2 there. And hence here we are writing this E0 upon omega L as I0. So we are getting the instantaneous value of the current I is equal to I0 sine omega t minus pi by 2. Give it equation number 7, and I0 which we are taking the equation as E0 upon omega L, we are giving it equation number 8 there. Where here I0 is nothing but the peak value of the current which we are getting as E0 upon omega L. As the equation I is equal to I0 sine omega t minus pi by 2, it gives the alternating current developed in a purely inductive circuit when connected to a source of alternating EMF. As here it becomes sine minus theta, now, which is equal to minus sine theta, hence over here, minus into minus become plus. Let's have a graph of E and I versus omega t. In this graph, it is very clear that as when we are comparing the equation for E, which is E0 sine omega t, and I, when the current is to be developed in a purely inductive circuit, we are getting as I is equal to I0 sine omega t minus pi by 2. So here we find that the current I, it lags behind the alternating voltage EMF E by a phase angle of pi by 2 radians or 90 degree. Or we can say that the voltage across L leads the current by a phase angle of pi by 2 radians or 90 degree as shown in this figure. As we are having in the last equation, we are having the value of E, instantaneous value of voltage, applied voltage, we are getting as E0 sine omega t, and value of current over here we are getting I0 sine omega t minus pi by 2. So from these two equation, it is very clear to us that the EMF is leads the current by the phase pi by 2 radians, or we can say that the current is lags behind the EMF by pi by 2 radians there. As over here the phase difference of pi by 2 is coming in the instantaneous value of the applied voltage and current when the pure inductor is to be connected to the alternating source over here. So from the graph also it is very clear that as the EMF over here is leads the current. See, the maximum value of the EMF we are getting, that is E0, the peak value of the EMF, okay, and at the same time the current we are getting as 0, and this we are getting for the angle omega is equal to angle omega t is equal to pi by 2. That means here for the angle pi by 2 we are getting the maximum value of the current, and we are getting there is no current flowing, the value of the current is 0 over here, there is no current flowing in a circuit. But when we are getting the maximum value of the current, that is I0 peak value of the current over here for the angle omega t is equal to pi, at this time the value of the instantaneous voltage becomes 0 there. That means over here the EMF and current both are sinusoidal of the same frequency, but EMF leads the current by the phase angle pi by 2 or current lags behind the EMF by the angle pi by 2 radian. Now let's have the phasor diagram for the purely inductive circuit. As the phasor diagram or the phasor representing the peak value of EMF and current over here, peak value of the EMF we are getting as E0 and peak value of the current we are representing as I0. So the phasor representing the peak EMF E0 which makes an angle omega t in anti-clockwise direction from the horizontal axis, as x-axis represents the angle omega t over there. Okay, so with this horizontal angle, when it is to be moving in the anti-clockwise direction, so the EMF, the length of the arrow representing the maximum value of the EMF is 0, and hence over here we can say that this maximum EMF, it makes an angle omega t in the anti-clockwise direction from the horizontal axis there. And over here, as we had seen, the current which is to be lags behind the voltage by 90 degree. So the phasor representing I0 is turned to the clockwise with the direction of E0 as shown in this figure. Okay, with this horizontal axis, when the omega t, this angle is to be moving in anti-clockwise direction. Okay, so it makes an angle with the maximum value of the E0, and hence we are getting its vertical component as E0 sin omega t. But the current which is lagging behind the EMF by pi by 2, so here we have to rotate the maximum value of the EMF which makes an angle omega t in the clockwise direction by the angle of the 90 degree, and hence here the vertical axis represents the value of the instantaneous value of current, that is I is equal to I0 sin omega t minus pi by 2. So the phasor diagram for the purely inductive circuit, it clearly represents that the EMF leads the current by the angle or by the phase pi by 2, or current lags behind the EMF by the angle or phase by pi by 2. After discussing all these things, let's see the inductive reactance. As the opposing nature of the inductor to the flow of alternating current is called as the inductive reactance over there. As we know that the alternating current flows through a resistor, it offers opposition, which is normally we are termed as resistance to the flow of current. And here in this case, when the inductor is to be connected with AC supply, so the opposition offered by the inductor, we are seeing to the flow of alternating current when alternating EMF is to be applied across them, and that opposition nature of the inductor to the flow of current is called as inductive reactance. As normally when the alternating current flows through the resistor, offers the opposition we are termed as resistance. So here in this case, when the inductor is to be connected across the AC signal, so the opposition offered by the inductor we are termed as inductive reactance. Now when we are comparing the equation, that is I0 is equal to E0 upon omega L. Okay, we are having the equation number 8 as E0 upon omega L, which is the maximum or peak value of the current I0. When we are comparing this equation with Ohm's law, that is I0 is equal to E0 upon R. So we find that the omega L term that represents the effect of the resistance, okay, or we can say that the omega L represents the effective resistance offered by the inductance L, and hence this is called as the inductive reactance, which is to be denoted as XL. And hence here we can say that as this omega L, this represents the opposition offered by the inductor, and hence it is to be called as inductive reactance. So this inductive reactance is equal to omega L. As omega is 2 pi f, so here we can say that the inductive reactance XL is equal to 2 pi fL, where f is the frequency of the AC supply. So inductive reactance XL is nothing but the opposition offered by the inductor when the current, alternating current, is to be flowing through the inductor over there, and it is to be given as XL is equal to omega L, as we have obtained the opposition offered as omega L by comparing the equation of I0 is equal to E0 upon omega L with the Ohm's law. Okay, by comparing this equation with the Ohm's law, which is I0 is equal to E0 upon R. So E0 upon omega L we are getting, that means omega L is nothing but represents the effective resistance offered by the inductance L, and hence it is to be termed as inductive reactance. So here we are getting XL is equal to omega L, which is equal to 2 pi f into L. So here we can conclude that the role of omega L is similar to that of the resistance in ohmic circuit. Now, when we are talking about the DC circuits, so over there the frequency of the signal is 0, the value of f is 0, and hence the value of the XL will be 0, as XL is equal to 2 pi f into L, as f is 0, so the entire factor will become 0, that means the value of XL is 0 in DC, which implies that a pure inductor offers 0 resistance to DC. That means it cannot be reduced. There is no opposition offered by the inductor when it is to be connected to a DC source of supply. So here whenever the inductor is to be connected to DC, so it will not going to be reduced. There is no opposition offered by it. The value of the inductive reactance XL will be 0 over here, and thus we can say that it passes DC and blocks AC of every high frequency. That means over here, as for the value XL we are getting 2 pi fL in AC circuit only, and the value of XL we are getting as 0 in DC circuit. So we can say that when pure inductor is to be connected across DC source, so it will blocks the AC of very high frequency, because in DC circuit the value of the frequency is 0, so the value of XL is 0. So we can say that it passes DC signals only and blocks AC of very high frequency. And hence we can say that in an inductive circuit, the self-induced EMF opposes the growth as well as decay of the current. So here we had seen the function of the inductive reactance is similar to that of the resistance in a purely resistive circuit, and it is directly proportional to the inductance L and the frequency f of the alternating current, as XL is equal to 2 pi fL. So we can say that XL is directly proportional to frequency and directly proportional to the inductance L there of the alternating current. And as we come to know that the inductive reactance XL is similar to that of the resistance in a purely resistive circuit, that's why it is having the same unit and dimension. The SI unit of the inductive reactance XL is to be given as ohm. Now let's have the example 13.3. An inductor of inductance 200 millihenry is connected to an AC source of peak EMF 210 volt and frequency 50 Hz. Calculate the peak current. What is the instantaneous voltage of the source when the current is at its peak value? Here first of all it is given that the inductor having the inductance L is equal to 200 millihenry. We are supposed to convert into Henry by multiplying 10 raised to minus 3. So we are getting the value as 0.2 Henry. Then next, the alternating source of peak EMF E0 is given 210 volt. Value of E0 is 210 volt and the frequency F is given as 50 Hertz. And we have to calculate the peak current, that is I0, as well as we have to determine what will be the value of the instantaneous voltage E of the source when it is to be there its peak value. The current is to be there its peak value. So for the peak current here, we are having the equation as I0 is equal to E0 upon omega L, where omega L is nothing but the inductive reactance. So here we can say that current is equal to EMF upon the opposition offered by the inductor. So maximum current I0 is equal to maximum voltage E0 upon the inductive reactance is XL. So I0 is equal to E0 upon XL. The value of XL we are having as omega L. Omega is 2 pi F. So I0 is equal to E0 upon 2 pi FL. After writing the formula, let's substitute the values. E0 as 210 volt upon 2 into pi is 3.142 into F is 50 into L is 0.2 Henry. After the substitution, we have to solve it and we are getting the value of the maximum current, which we are obtaining as 3.342 ampere. The peak current we are getting I0 as 3.342 ampere. Now next we have to determine what will be the value of the instantaneous voltage of the source when the current is at its peak value. So here we know that in an inductive AC circuit, the current lags behind the EMF by pi by 2 radian. So the voltage is 0 when the current is at its peak value. So here the value of the instantaneous voltage of the source will be 0 when the current is at its peak value. So for this example, we are getting the solution that the peak current for the peak value of the EMF 210 volt is I0 is equal to 3.342 ampere and the value of the instantaneous voltage of the source is 0 when the current is at its peak value. So here we have studied application of AC to a pure inductor, and in a pure inductive circuit, when the AC voltage is applied to an inductor, the opposition offered by the pure inductor to the flow of alternating current, which is named as or called as inductive reactance and is denoted as XL, is equal to omega L, which is equal to 2 pi F into L, and hence here it shows that XL is directly as the frequency of the applied voltage and the value of the self inductance L of the inductor. The SI unit of the inductive reactance L is expressed in ohm, and also here the function of this inductive reactance is similar to that of the resistance in a purely resistive circuit. And when the purely inductor is to be connected in DC circuit. So we come to know that the value of the opposition offered over here XL is 0, as the frequency is 0 in the DC circuits, which implies that a pure inductor offers 0 resistance to DC, that is, it cannot reduce DC there, and thus it passes DC and blocks AC of very high frequency. Hence we can say that in an inductive circuit, the self-induced EMF opposes the growth as well as the decay of current. The chapter will be continued next time in the next lecture. Thank you.